Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here today. I wanted to make another top 5 video for you guys, and this one is a fan requested video. A few people asked for this one, which is top 5 vehicles most people don't use anymore. If you guys ever have a top 5 video you want me to make, just let me know down below. I'm always open to suggestions. Now this is different than underrated vehicles because I also had a top 5 underrated vehicles list. The difference is underrated means the vehicle was great, just people never really used it in mass. They never really used it in great numbers. These vehicles, they could be good or bad. They are ones that people once used in great numbers but stopped using. I'm not saying nobody uses them, just it's pretty rare to see them today in comparison to the past. We're going to try to focus on some of the better vehicles though, and get to the reason of why people stopped using them. Now, let's get started. Starting off at number 5, we have the Sparrow helicopter. This helicopter came out with the Super Sports Series update and cost $1,815,000. When the Super Sports Series update came out, a lot of people were disappointed because they waited months for an update that just had a few new stunt races and cars. However, in the drip-fed vehicles, there was one unique vehicle, which is the Sparrow. This was an amphibious helicopter that many remembered from San Andreas. I remember people got really excited for it, and in my opinion, the Sparrow was the best thing that came out of that update. The Sparrow, it has a few advantages over the Buzzard. The Buzzard, it's a little bit faster and it has machine guns, but the Sparrow, it has unlimited homing missiles, no cooldown on them, like the Buzzard, which has a cooldown on the missiles. You fire 2 missiles at a time, little bit of a cooldown. The Sparrow, it can keep firing missiles, and it can land easier on the ground, and it can land on the water, but be careful with it in the water as it can flip easily. When it was released, a lot of people purchased it, and I noticed many people flying around in it the first few weeks that this was out. People were using it for CEO crates and hangar crates and some missions, but then after a month, I just stopped seeing it. So why did people stop using it? I think it was because a lot of more people, they were expecting it to be more resistant. I understand it's a small helicopter, but it has some pretty weak armor, and it can't make hard water landings like the Seabreeze plane. It was also the fact that if you landed in the water and got out, the waves would push the helicopter away, and then you had to chase after it in the water. It was a little frustrating if you got the helicopter in the water. But what do I think was the number one reason that people stopped using it? It was the fact that you couldn't spawn it with the CEO menu. If you could, a lot more people would be using it. Think about it this way. Why would someone spawn their Sparrow and have to drive a distance to get to its spawn location versus spawning a Buzzard on the same street, running up to it and getting in? It's a shame, as the Sparrow did have potential. It should be a CEO spawnable vehicle if you own it. I guarantee if it was, a lot more people would be using it then. At number 4, we have the infamous Zentorno supercar. You can't have a video of vehicles people stopped using without having the Zentorno. The Zentorno was added on May 12, 2014 as part of the High Life update, making it the oldest vehicle on this list as well. The Zentorno cost $725,000, making it a pretty cheap supercar. But again, remember, this is when it was much harder to make money. There wasn't many supercars out there when this was released. Almost everyone went and bought one when it came out. I saw full 30-player lobbies of almost everyone driving around in these things. What made the Zentorno so popular was its speed and the fact that you could not be shot out the back. Remember, this is before the armored Kuruma. The fact that you couldn't be shot out the back made this vehicle a must-have back then. This was also one of the biggest griefing vehicles. People would often back up because they can't be shot out and sticky bomb people. You can see my friend here doing this strategy. Back then, this was pretty annoying when you got rushed by a Zentorno and somebody sticky bombed you. A lot of us thought this was really overpowered. If only we knew what would be added in the next few years, we would much rather be griefed by Zentornos than other vehicles. So what caused people to stop using the Zentorno? What was the main reason? I think it was a combination of factors, mainly new supercars coming out over the next few years and the fact that the armored Kuruma was brought into the game. The armored Kuruma was completely bulletproof all around, and people started using that to attack other players. People went from being rushed by Zentornos to getting rushed by armored Kurumas. It was also the fact that the Kuruma was a pretty cheap vehicle, and today, there's many different ways to get around the map, from the Oppressor to helicopters to planes. The Zentorno was added at a time when people used cars mostly to get around the map. I have not been attacked by a Zentorno since 2015, over 4 years ago. You just never see these cars anymore. Next at number 3, we have the FH1 Hunter helicopter. This helicopter was released as part of Smuggler's Run Dripfed, and it costs a total of $4,123,000, or you can get it for a trade price of $3,100,000. $100,000 if you complete 42 crate missions for the hangar. The Hunter was another anticipated vehicle. It was one of the vehicles people were really excited for and waited for, and it's the most weaponized helicopter in the game, having homing missiles, barrage missiles, 50 droppable bombs, and a co-pilot remote-controlled cannon that is very deadly. Plus, the helicopter has countermeasures. This helicopter was very fast and agile for its size. Almost any kind of mission you had, whether it was to get across the map or destroy a series of targets, the Hunter excelled in almost everything. It is one of the best helicopters in the game. When this helicopter came out, I saw so many people using it. People were flying around in it, completing missions, and I even got attacked by people who used it. But I also used it to fight griefers. So what caused people to stop using the Hunter? To answer this question, it's best to look at when it was released. The Hunter, even though it was part of Smuggler's Run, was not released until November 2017. This was 1 month before the Doomsday Heist. A lot of people bought it, but also there was plenty of others that were saving up money for it. The Hunter is a pretty expensive helicopter, even with the trade price. By the time many people saved up for it, the Doomsday Heist released next month. That added plenty of new vehicles, and the Akula stealth helicopter, which was much cheaper and had a new stealth ability. Plus, it carried 4 people. People preferred investing their money in the Doomsday Heist and buying all the new stuff versus buying the Hunter. Today, I see plenty of Akulas flying around, but barely any Hunters. If the Hunter was released at a different time, I think more people would be using it today. After the Akula, not many people bothered buying the Hunter. At number 2, we have the Deluxe. This vehicle costs $4,721,500, or you can get it for a trade price of $3,550,000 if you complete Act 1 of the Doomsday Heist. Now the Deluxe, this vehicle, a lot of you guys remember it. It had a pretty short lifespan, about half a year I would say. When the Doomsday Heist came out, I saw so many of these things, and it continued for months and months. The Deluxe was a great vehicle for getting across the water, driving on land, and flying, but it did fly at a pretty slow rate. Perhaps the best feature of it was its 30 missiles, which were Ruiner missiles, which are very hard to dodge. They're the best missiles in the game. People were using them for missions and also to kill each other. I saw plenty of Deluxes in PvP battles where people were killing each other with it. But today, I almost never see anyone use it in PvP. This is one of the rarest vehicles I see in lobbies today. So what caused people to stop using it? It's simple. The Oppressor Mark II. When that vehicle came out half a year later, most people who were constantly using Deluxos switched to Oppressor Mark IIs instead. The Oppressor Mark II was faster, more agile, had very good missiles. It also had countermeasures, something the Deluxo lacked, but most importantly, it could be spawned with the MC menu, versus calling the mechanic. This is what caused people to stop using the Deluxo. Occasionally, I will still see one in free mode lobbies, but it's getting pretty rare. Before I unveil the number 1 vehicle people stopped using, I wanted to make a special mention, which is the APC. This vehicle came out with gun running and cost a regular price of $3,092,250, but you can get it for a trade price of $2,325,000 if you complete the MLC APC mission. The APC, I started seeing a lot of people drive around it, especially in PvP battles. It could have a tank cannon on the top or a SAM launcher that fires about 60 missiles. Now, why did people stop using it? I think it's a combination of things. Firstly, the APC, it needs a second person to man the gun, which is why you don't see it that often in PvP fights, because you need a second person on it. But I think that this is a way to balance it, because think about it this way. If you had one guy driving it, one guy firing the turret, I think this thing could be pretty overpowered because of how fast it is. It's much faster than a tank. Now, also, the other reason is I think people were disappointed in the SAM turret because it didn't lock on, but most importantly, 2 months later, Smuggler's Run came out, and people started buying planes. Then when the Doomsday Heist came out, the Kanjali replaced it. It could be driven solo and had a powerful gun on it, so people stopped using the APC. And the number 1 vehicle most people stopped using is the Oppressor. You knew this one was coming. The Oppressor costs a regular price of $3,524,500, but you can get it for a trade price of $2,650,000 if you complete the 2 Oppressor MOC missions. And I know what some people are going to tell me, but you use the Oppressor all the time. Yes, I do, but I don't see most people using it. It's not a common vehicle. Occasionally I will see one, but it's pretty rare today. What caused everyone to stop using the Oppressor? The Oppressor Mark II, which is actually responsible for a lot of vehicles becoming abandoned. The Oppressor was a futuristic motorcycle that could glide and fly with a boost, plus 20 missiles. This was the number 1 used vehicle after gun running, and was for over an entire year, until the Oppressor Mark II came out. When that thing came out, most people who were using the Oppressor abandoned it in favor of the Mark II. Over the next few months, I still saw some people using the Oppressor, but once they afforded the Mark II, they stopped using it. Why? The Oppressor Mark II can be spawned from the MC menu, like the original Oppressor, and it has better missiles, they're much more accurate, plus it hovers versus gliding with the regular one. It's a lot easier to control in the air, and you don't have to constantly hit up and down the stick like the regular Oppressor to keep flying, and it's also very hard to fly off the Oppressor and crash. So why do I use the regular Oppressor and not the Mark II? Because I don't have a need to fight people with the Mark II's missiles. I just use the regular Oppressor to get around the map, which is just as good as the Mark II, and better in some cases. The Oppressor Mark II may be easier to control in the air, but I disagree that it's easier to control on the ground. It hovers versus the regular Oppressor, which is a motorcycle. It has 2 wheels. It's easier to control on the ground. Its handling is better on the ground, and when you boost this thing on the highway, you can get to your destination faster than the Mark II. A lot of people deny this because they're such big fans of the Mark II and refuse to believe the regular Oppressor is faster. On the ground it is. I have tested it several times. If you don't believe me, look at this. My friend was doing a race with me. He has the Mark II. I let him get a 3-second head start, plenty of time to start going, and I was able to easily catch up to him and pass him. The regular Oppressor has a superior boost, being able to use it every few seconds, versus the Mark II, where you have to stop in the air. It's a bit more competitive in the air. If you're racing it on hilly areas, the regular Oppressor will win because it can glide over, touch the ground, and boost. If you're racing in the air in a straight line, no hills, the Mark II is a little bit faster, but not by much, and that's if somebody is using the handbrake trick. It's not that noticeable. If someone really knows what they're doing, they can get to any place just as fast as the Oppressor Mark II. But if the regular Oppressor is faster on the ground, and about just the same as the Mark II in the air, why do so many more people prefer the Mark II? For a variety of reasons. Like I said, the missiles are better, it's easier to control in the air, you don't crash and fall off the Oppressor Mark II like the Oppressor Mark I. People would rather just hold accelerate and fly over mountains versus constantly hit the stick up and down. And also, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that everyone is using it, so I have to use it. This idea that so many people have the Mark II and those people that don't feel like they have to because everyone else does. Everyone's using it, so they feel they have to. If you're looking for combat, the Mark II is better, but I disagree that it's better for getting around the map, as I beat Oppressor Mark IIs all the time getting across the map. It's a shame. I think more people should really try using the regular Oppressor more. And that is that for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like. If you're new to my channel and enjoy my content, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.